Hello and welcome to Strong Message here from BBC Radio 4, a guide to the use and abuse of political language. I'm Armando. I'm joined once again by Hugo Rifkind. Hello. Hello. And this week, we're looking at the phrase righteous targets for violence. To explain, this is the first of the shows after the Easter break, and it could well be one of the last ones, the way things are going.
Fingers crossed.
We're recording this on what's become in the calendar Power Plant Day, which is the Tuesday, that Donald Trump has threatened to do all sorts of, frankly, war criminal things to another country. But this will go out on Thursday. So what kind of Thursday this goes out on, we've no way of knowing. So there is a parallel with the Artemis 2 space. Have you been following the Artemis 2?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, yes. Very excited.
Why are we suddenly all galvanised by that? Is it because it's so different from what's going on down here? There's something noble about the language used is about achievement, ambition, humanity. It's humanity in lockstep with technology and physics, rather than humanity ignoring physics and being subjugated by technology.
I don't think it needs to be that complex. It's big rockets going up, and you don't need to worry about where they're coming down.
Yes. Well, I don't fault people who do worry about it.
Sure. But, not all of them. But no, it's the good America rather than the bad America.
Yeah.
It's
and Canada,
a little bit of Canada,
a little bit of Canada.
On the side.
This is true, actually. The first Jeremy in space.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. I mean, that shows it wasn't a British space race, doesn't it? I think there is something though. So we were talking about this today. There is something quite Trumpy about it, in that if you think about how it's been sold to the American public. So like when the first space race under Kennedy, it was all about human ingenuity, mankind going boldly into the universe. I know that's a bit more Star Trek, but you know what I mean. And this time, they're selling it to the American public by talking about resources.
Yes.
So it's like it's acquisition, it's exploitation, it's
we
profit.
Want to take the moon.
We're going to get a good deal with space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of real estate up there that is yet to be exploited.
We're not just going there because it's there. We're going there because it's there and we can bring bits of it back.
That's right. Yeah. And I do wonder as they come round this, we can't call it the dark side of the moon.
No.
Not for, woke reasons. It's just scientists do say it's the far side of the moon.
Did you see the fantastic tweet from conspiracy theorist Naomi Wolf?
No.
She posted the picture that they'd put up of the far side of the moon and said, I'm not claiming to be an expert, but what's illuminating this? Like, why can I see it? Why is it not dark? What's illuminating it? To which the answer is the sun.
The sun.
That illuminates everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does she think when it's night everywhere?
I think she thinks they're expecting us to believe this spaceship has very powerful headlights.
Yes.
It's illuminated the whole moon.
I've met some NASA people because I did a show, Avenue 5, which is set in space, and I went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena where they do Voyager, Mars rovers and so on. And the people who work there, it is very humbling because they all look like blokes in a garage and they've got tool belts and wherever, but they have 3 astrophysics degrees and a PhD in geoengineering and they all see themselves as practical problem solvers. And that's what I found interesting about them. The fact that it's all about how do you get this thing here that's this heavy and therefore requires this amount of fuel? How can you get it fast enough to get to there without taking on too much weight? And what's the best way of utilizing the laws of science to get it around there and get it to come back here?
And were they excited, or were they more kind of like, going to cost you?
It'll cost you. That'll cost you. Yeah, it's a carburetor. That'll cost you $13 billion. No, there was a sense of challenge, it's problem solving. And it was just something about the better aspect of humanity about it.
Yeah.
2 aspects of the Artemis story I want to pick up on, which will get us to the apocalyptic meat of the programme. Can you have apocalyptic meat? I suppose in apocalypse
pretty
there
bad.
will be lots of cooked meat.
I know some burger rounds. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Right. If only we could harness that power for good. One was BBC's science editor, Rebecca Morrell, watching Artemis 2 take off, and she just went, my goodness. And I thought that's so illustrative of the British approach to emotion as opposed to the American. And the American is all let the emotion out in the, go, whereas the British one is contained.
Yeah, I think that's what, I mean, what Trump himself said about it was, this is the big stuff.
Yes.
Which is, again, that's quite human. I know, normally you think he should find better words, but for that you can't find the words.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, the sort of the lovely Britishness of just, my goodness.
I know.
My goodness, it's space.
I know. Yeah. Imagine if it would have been a British astronaut who was first to step on the moon instead of man's first. It was like, my goodness.
It was, golly.
Golly. Golly, it's dark here. Where's the sun? Oh, it's over there. Sorry, I got confused. So there was that aspect of it. And yes, there was also Donald Trump's call to the Artemis crew after they'd turned round and came back. And it went weirdly silent for me. He started talking about... When he got onto Canada, he started talking about the only Canadian thing he could think about, which was Wayne Gretzky, ice hockey player, Hall of Famer.
Really odd, that.
Yeah. And it then went very quiet for about a minute. And the mic was actually just floating. No one was saying, and then somebody said, have we lost the signal? And then you heard Trump going, no, I'm still here.
Like, not you.
And I thought, what are they doing? Is this them?
I guess they can't make a sound. They can't make a sound while they're biting their fists. No. I suppose,
and they can't do a mic drop, as in, because you can't in space. You really can't. So a mic float.
You think with Trump calling them from the White House, you think that's one of the only times if you sort of beam back from space and everyone back in NASA control is wearing like sort of gorilla masks. You'd be like, it's a relief. Yeah. It's all over. We managed to miss out 30,000 years.
Yeah. Trump also tweeted about America on the Artemis 2. We are winning in space, on Earth, and everywhere in between. What is in between Earth and space?
What is in between Earth and space? That is philosophical. I guess high ground. We're winning on step ladders.
Is there a border? Is there a wall?
We are defeating the birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Clouds are really coming around to our way of thinking.
We're going to blast birds into not the Stone Age, the pre-avian age.
I guess undersea is still up for grabs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I think we'll be seeing more of that.
Undersea is, of course, also between Earth and space, but only if you go the other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you go slightly more challenging route to space.
Yes.
By burrowing. And what, come out the other end?
But they would nonetheless be winning if that's what they were doing.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes. What I remember of the original Apollo missions, and it was nice to see it brought back again, was the radio silence for 40 minutes as they disappear around the other side.
What a blessed relief.
I know. For everyone. And part of me did think, well, haven't they sorted that by now? Have they not got a satellite that's further out? They could, whatever.
They are thinking of it.
Yeah.
So I spoke to somebody about this today. I said, is there a plan to fix that for the future? And they said, yes, they want to if they get satellites to orbit the moon.
God.
Then you could...
It's like there being Wi-Fi suddenly available on planes, isn't it? You just want to get away from all that. Now they've done this.
Well, the way they were going, it shows how far away it is that there's not even radio signal. It's like, that's like my kitchen, Yeah, I don't know if we... And they saw the crash site of a mysterious Chinese ship. Did you read about this?
Right, yes.
That was bigger than it ought to have been. They're not quite sure what was on it.
Oh.
Yeah, because they thought if it was a standard rocket, it would have made a small hole, but it made a big hole 30 miles away from itself.
That's fascinating.
So the Chinese crashed something very big into that.
Right, okay.
Maybe a Statue of Liberty, just to fool people next time.
But yes, that 40-minute silence, I think we should petition for that to be maintained. It's the only time.
Just a place you can go.
Yeah. Oh, just as an idea, for 40-minute silence on the other side of the moon.
You could sell those trips,
Yes.
So everyone's against Katy Perry going back up, but she will be silent for 40 minutes.
Yes.
All right. No. Send an ad.
Let's crowdfund this right now. Yes. I once had to do a shoot underwater for a publicity thing, and it was in a tank at the back of someone's house, a massive. So instead of it being like a swimming pool that had length, it had depth, and normally they used it for testing camera equipment that shot underwater and so on. But the person who owned it said a lot of people from business would book it in for an hour, go in a diving suit and some lead weights and go to the bottom and just sit there for an hour.
So they...
to get away from everything.
So they can be winning between Earth and space.
Yes. So they can, just that idea of like, that's what you have to do now to get away from any kind of contact, is like sit at the bottom of a 20-foot drop pool.
I went once into a cave in Belize that was 3 miles long.
Right.
With the river running into it, absolute kind of sort of darkness in there, until we all got our phones out and lit it up to look at it. Yes. And kind of like, we better almost not know.
Well, look, that cave brings me on to the religious language of war. War Secretary of State in America, Mr. Hegseth, always sounds like his name is mispronounced, said of the missing American pilot who was then found, he said this: he was shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter. God is good.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Quite a lot to unpick there, isn't there?
I mean, firstly, I'm not a Christian, but I would nonetheless quibble with the idea that between crucifixion and resurrection, what Jesus was doing was hiding in a cave.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that's a mean way of putting it.
Yeah, brackets, a crevice.
A crevice.
To Pete. It would have a different ring to it. It said, and they found the crevice empty.
Do you think it's very un-Pete Hegseth to have corrected himself to said a cave, a crevice?
Yeah.
Because maybe it's a mere overhang.
Yes.
Maybe he thought, I'm not going to get away with cave. Maybe there's a photo of this cave.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if he's thinking that's the only bit of the analogy that he's not going to get away from, he's sadly mistaken, because, yes, you could say the pilot went missing on Good Friday and was found again the following Sunday. But it begs the question, why is the person running the Pentagon, why is he using this religious language so overtly? And it's there also in some of Trump's statements as well about you're going to go to hell. Allah is great. Whether it's chiding or whether it's
jealous.
Jealous. Go on.
They are at war with the theocracy, right? There are lots of things said about Iran that. I mean, Iran is a nasty regime. There are lots of things said about it that are not true as well. One thing that is definitely true is it is a theocracy. And you would think that the liberal West would look at a theocracy and go, that seems like a bad idea.
Right.
Whereas the Trump lot, much like how they look at Putin and look at an autocracy, they look at a theocracy and go, we could use a bit of that.
Yeah.
I think genuinely it is trying to capture for themselves what they see as being strongest about the other side, which is its mad devotion to faith.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, is it working? Are people persuaded by that? Now Trump is sounding like an Ayatollah, isn't he? When he's truthing things like, Tuesday will be power plant day in Bridgedale, wrapped in one in Iran. There'll be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. I'll probably do a Radio 4 version of that for the post in our time audience. But A, it's deranged, but B, this kind of overt use of religious language is the behavior of a theocracy, isn't it?
It's this previously unexpected common ground.
Yes.
Where the Old Testament meets computer games.
Yes.
If you see what I mean. And you wouldn't have thought that it was possible to harness both. Why Hegseth talks like this? I mean, I guess Trump less so. I suppose, is it a self-reassurance thing? Is it trying to capture the rhetoric of other people? The Allah thing from Trump. I couldn't quite figure out what he was doing there. You know, whether he was saying it in a mocking way, or not a mocking way.
I mean, I think it was language of the playground. It was a taunting way.
Yeah,
it was designed to irritate his enemy. It was posted on the morning of Easter Sunday, which in the Christian calendar is meant to be the holiest day of the year.
Yes.
It's all about rebirth and renewal and new life.
And he's swearing and talking about Allah in the same...
and death and destruction and going to hell. It's a strangely Old Testament kind of use of language.
Well, it is, because it's unburdened by... forgiveness and charity, and love for your common man, which is a sort of a recurring thing with this administration. Remember J.D. Vance had that whole fight with Rory Stewart of all people, about the concentric circles of Christian love, about whether it should look inward or look outward, and got told off by the Pope, I seem to remember.
Yes, it's almost like the New Testament is a bit woke, is a bit kind of the newfangled Testament, and going back to that. Hegseth now has monthly prayers at the Pentagon, and his most recent one includes the phrase, grant this task force clear and righteous targets for violence. Protect the innocent and blameless in their midst. Fat chance of that happening. Make the arrows like those of a skilled warrior who returned not empty-handed. Let every round find its mark against the enemies of righteousness and our great nation.
returned not empty-handed.
Yes.
Putting the not there. What is that? Is that just like returned
not empty-handed? So handed. Fully handed.
Return entirely handed.
Entirely handed.
Yeah.
Come back with all your hands. No, come back with something in your hands.
Return.
What are you coming back with?
Just don't return empty-handed.
Yes.
Do return
handed.
Full-handed.
Yeah. Arrows. Okay.
Arrows is arrows.
It's a technical term.
It's modest.
Yes.
You have the righteous targets where we began.
Yeah.
Do you want the targets to be righteous?
Yes.
I'm not sure you do.
No.
I feel if you're bombing the righteous, you've got this badly wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, you want the targets to be unrighteous.
But does it also, this elevation to this Old Testament language is an attempt to seem justifiably separate and above human laws or human evidence or human argument?
Sure. Well, I mean, so Trump has been complaining about the lack of support he's had from everywhere. You know, he's complained about Britain, he complained about NATO. I think this morning or yesterday he was like, it's not just NATO, it's South Korea, it's Australia, it's Japan. None of them are supporting me. And it's like, get the hint, man. But but God is.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need them. It's the rapper thing. Only God can judge me. You know what I mean? It's I don't have you, but I've got God.
Yeah.
And he hasn't asked God. And again, it's very different from the whole sort of Blair Bush era of talking to God. Trump's not even talking to God. He just knows.
He just knows.
He just knows, yeah.
Yes. Trump himself doesn't seem godly, does he? Is he a spiritual person? No.
No, he was asked which Bible book, the Old Testament or New Testament, and he said, I'd say equal.
Yeah.
And they said, do you have a favorite passage in the Bible? And he said, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His head of press at the White House,
Caroline Levitt,
did say this week he is always the most well-read person in the room, and said, whenever I see him, he's either reading a newspaper or watching the news on television.
Wow.
That's her definition of well-read.
I mean, it might be true in the rooms that she's in.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this is a room problem.
Yes, yes. If all else in the room is Melania and the Easter Bunny, then he may well be the most well-read. I don't think just watching the news means you're well-read.
I mean, so like Hegseth has also been told off by the Pope.
Oh, right.
You know, Pope Leo responded to him basically and said, Jesus is the King of peace who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them.
Well, that's him told.
Yeah. However many times you put not in, he's not going to listen. He will listen not. And like there are some people you can have a theocratical religious dispute with, but not necessarily the Pope. You think that's got a sting if you're wearing Christian garb.
Yes. I have mentioned this before, but I do remember growing up in quite sectarian Glasgow in the 70s, and it was the papal visit.
Yeah.
John Paul II papal visit, and someone in a sort of very extremist church said the Pope shouldn't come here pontificating. And I just thought, yes, that's what popes do, actually.
Well, it's not like Hegseth can go, you know, well, I've heard what the Pope says and he's wrong, because the Pope's like, famously, I'm not. You know? So
I also wonder whether, you know, using religious language means that argument is no longer required. Do you know what I mean? There's no point starting to question what are the war aims, when will you decide when you've achieved those aims, because it's moving everything into a higher level, much more intangible.
It's beyond your pay grade.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
It's beyond. And again, it's worth contrasting it with what Blair did with God, which I was no fan of, don't get me wrong. But Blair, at least, he'd present it all in terms of, I'm agonizing about this, and I've spoken to God in whatever level he meant.
Yes.
And this is the verdict I've come to.
Yes.
Whereas Trump's not even doing that. No. There's no, he's not agonizing about it.
Blair had a kind of anguished, tortured soul about him, whereas Trump has this level of certainty. You know, it's like Moses receiving the word.
Well, it's like he said that God would approve of the war because God is good.
Yeah.
And it's like, the war is good, God is good, thus God approves, QED.
And that's one of those kind of very self-contained sentences where it's impossible to attack it from the point of view of objective, factual values, because...
Unless you're saying God isn't good.
Exactly.
And if you're saying the war isn't good, you're saying God's wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Exactly. Yes. He added that neither he nor God like what's happening.
Well, I mean, he doesn't say he's asked. He just assumes.
Yeah.
He's like, God will play along. I know the guy. God will do as he's told. On the Easter thing, on Trump talking about Easter, I loved the quote, the thing he said. He said, "This is one of our better Easters, I think, in a lot of different ways. I can say militarily, it's been one of the best Easters."
Right.
As if there were a rank of Easters, the most military successful Easters, the least military successful
I was
Easters.
looking for an Easter card and I couldn't find any of the militarily ones. You can,
Here's hoping you have a militarily successful Easter.
Exactly. And the odd on Easter Monday, all US presidents have to do this thing of the Easter egg race at the White House Guard standing next to the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
And he was standing next to the Easter Bunny while he was saying, flanked by Melania and the Easter Bunny. He started a speech talking about the rescue of the American soldier. And then he said, "You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago, I can tell you. In fact, right now, they're not too strong at all, in my opinion." This was in front of children.
Mm-hmm. And a rabbit.
And a
giant rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was a security guy inside it. But yes, I'll take that. That's not reading the room, though, is it?
Well, it's the two parts of the Easter message, right? It's the rabbit and the cock crowing, right?
Yes. Oh, so Trump is like, when he's saying NATO won't come, not even South, it's like, they've betrayed me.
Yes, exactly.
I'm in the garden here, suffering.
Japan, why hath thou forsaken me?
Yeah, they've all gone. They've all fallen asleep.
Doesn't he do this every year, stand next to the rabbit and say something rabbit inappropriate?
Yes, only he does this. But yes, the tradition is the president does the Easter egg roll race. Mm-hmm. There is no part of that tradition where the president is obliged to do a speech about war.
Right. Okay.
It may now become a kind of tradition, but up till now, that's never been part of the Easter celebration. I tried to do a PhD on religious language in Paradise Lost on that very basis that religious poets wrote poems using words that would mean if you shared their religious belief, you would get a very different reading of that poem to someone who didn't share religious belief. So it's not meanings that the language itself can convey through just a study of that language. It's meanings you bring to those words and phrases yourself. And therefore, it's your own personal belief that will affect your reading of the poem. Anyway, I never finished it because how could you finish that?
But I mean, that's true because it is... Look, if it was another culture, we'd use the word tribal.
Yeah.
Right. Because, and this has been happening an awful lot in right-wing American politics. Like they'll end statements by saying Christ is king. Yeah. Which is just, again, it's literally a nod to the faithful.
Yes. Yeah. And again, hard to do in a current affairs program. Yeah. Christ is king, you say. I'll turn now to, is Christ king? It's like, and this is like, we've verified this, haven't we? It starts becoming, it's language on a different level. And there is now a creeping sense of that kind of religious language creeping into UK politics.
Yes,
bit,
sure.
There is the sort of, again, that evangelical, slightly fundamentalist, people would argue mostly on the right, but there used to be, the Labour Party of old 100 years ago and the Liberal Party, there was this Methodist tradition behind it as well. And then, as Alistair Campbell said with Tony Blair, we don't do God. Tim Farron famously was leader of the Lib Dems, but then resigned, saying from the leadership, saying that his particular Christian faith many times put him at odds with decisions he had to make as a leader politically. He found a tussle between politics and religion in certain instances and felt that religion had to win out, that he couldn't really continue as a leader of a party.
So, Tim Farron said a lot of odd stuff. Do you remember when he said, "Smell my spaniel"? To a voter?
No, I was unaware of that.
He said it was. I think it's the best line ever said by a British politician. Is smell. To be fair, he did have a spaniel. It wasn't that weird.
No.
Yeah. It was not a euphemism. But actually, on that, on the faith versus politics thing, I think that's actually one of the best and most honest formulations of that there's ever been. He's saying, these are my beliefs. It gives me a conflict with the politics I would like to have. Thus, I bow out. I admire that enormously.
So most of 20th century politics was like religion-free, wasn't it?
It's now virtuous to do God.
Yes.
But I think on all sides, really.
Yeah.
So you had last week, it was the Jewish Passover last week. I'm Jewish myself. We celebrated Passover. And we had Zach Polanski and the journalist Owen Jones posted pictures of themselves at a Passover Seder.
Yeah.
Where the big catchphrase is next year in Jerusalem. So presumably they mean a different Jerusalem, given the rest of their politics. But you also have, you have also on the right, you have this so much more so, to the extent that I feel a bit bad for Kemi Badenoch, because she has said herself that she is not religious, but you can tell she wishes she was. It'd be easier. It'd be much easier if she was.
Has she asked her team to come up with some religion for her to be enthusiastic about? I need a religion quick, yes.
But so she does the call, which I think I probably agree with. I mean, to be fair, I don't mean to mock her for it, because I'm probably in a similar place myself, but she feels her views would be easier to justify if she could call upon religion in order to do so.
I mean, Starmer has said that he is not necessarily religious, although his wife is Jewish.
She's Jewish,
and they follow the sort of Jewish calendar and Jewish festivals, and he's been very vehement about anti-Semitism and so. But he talks about morality and ethics, and there should be something like the removal of the two-child limit and benefits and so on. Of that is not just an economic benefit, but it's there's a moral value in that. That's how he would justify it. It's weirdly reform. I mean, Nigel Farage is not someone who I'd see as being overtly religious, but creeping into reforms language has been this discussion about. Well, it started off as discussion about Judeo-Christian values about a year or so ago. And then maybe, possibly, as the whole issue of what's happening in the Middle East has got more and more heated, it's become now Christian values or values about Christian heritage. I've come across this interview that Zia Yusuf, big donor to Reform UK and their Home Affairs spokesperson. It was in the Times a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about the crisis of meaning among young people. He outlined his pledge for his party to restore Britain's Christian heritage by preventing churches being converted into mosques and persuading British expats to return to the country. And he talked about it's vital to renew Britain's Christian faith to tackle the crisis of meaning culturally. And I just thought it was odd because he is a practicing Muslim, and him saying he understands that, but Britain has lost its Christian values because of, his quote was, the sheer quantities of people that come to the country in a short period of time.
Well, firstly, that's not why Britain has lost its Christian values. Britain has lost its Christian values because it got into rock and roll and weed, right? And I mean, this happened in the 60s, long before there was mass immigration. I sort of, in a way, understand where Yusuf is coming from, where often if you are a member of a minority faith, it is comforting to live in an environment of faith.
Yeah.
And some faith is better than no faith. And so there is a perfectly respectable and legitimate kind of intellectual tradition. Even if you are a Jew, you want there to be a strong Church of England because it can be an umbrella faith.
Right.
Same as if you are a member of another minority faith. Where it is complicated coming from somebody like Zia Yusuf is that's precisely the sort of Christianity that the rest of Reform appear to not have. They're not into Christianity because it is an umbrella for other faiths to thrive.
Exactly, yes. And his policy is principally about making sure that old churches aren't converted to mosques or discos.
Which it makes me think of during the pandemic, I used to go and give blood in a nightclub that had been converted into a donor centre,
right? Which
was the weirdest thing, because you'd lie there basically on your thing with your tube coming out your arm under a glitter ball.
Exactly.
No music playing. But that was a point where I thought it's a terrible shame that we're not preserving the nation's nightclubs and they're turning into outpatient centres,
into blood banks.
Into blood banks.
Yes. Or they could put glitter balls in hospital wards. I mean, we could go the other way. I ought to explain, because we're now in the local election campaign, we have an obligation as a public service broadcaster to be even-handed to all the parties. So we will also, as well as the main party, we'll be talking about some of the smaller parties like Labour and Conservative. And the Conservative Party was in trouble. Nick Timothy, Shadow Justice Secretary, complaining about the assembly of... I think it was a peaceful assembly in Trafalgar Square, a Muslim ceremony.
It was an iftar at the end of Ramadan.
Yes. And James Cleverly, who I think is still in the Conservatives, when asked about that, said, that wouldn't be my personal take.
Yes.
And That's a phrase or something like that I've found been happening more and more in the last sort of 12 months or so. It's a phrase you use if you're in the same party as someone who's done something embarrassing and you don't want to be publicly showing that you disagree with it, but you want to express it somehow. So you say something like, that's not the way I would have done it.
You don't go on and say, personally, I would say the exact opposite of that.
Yes.
And run away screaming from that
I
statement.
mean, it doesn't stand up in court as a kind of, did you commit the crime? Well, you say that. I mean,
that's not how I'd put it.
Yeah.
No one's doing that this week about Kanye West. With all his, it's like Kanye West says in his song, Heil Hitler. That's not how I'd put it.
I would sort of question the choice of language there.
The choice of the first word and the second word. But the rest.
Other than that, yes. Have you brought any words in that you want to consign to the furnace? Not the furnace of hell, the furnace that is the strong message here, furnace of bad phrases.
Yes, I have. Britain is broken.
Oh, that's a biggie.
And also, Britain isn't broken.
Right.
Explain
yourself.
You've got both of them going on at once. You've got this fight, this kind of quite... It's funny, we've been talking about religious language. This quite religious kind of signifying catchetism of a fight between the Conservatives and Reform, whereas Reform say Britain is broken, and Robert Jenrick says one of the reasons he left the Conservatives to join Reform was because Kemi Badenoch won't say Britain is broken.
Right.
And Kemi Badenoch has written, she wrote in, I think she wrote in the Times this weekend, saying, Britain is not broken. I will never agree with Reform that Britain is broken.
Starmer sort of comes somewhere in the middle. He talked about the NHS being beaten but not broken. It's all getting quite graphic, really.
Well, that's only somewhere in the middle if you're not talking about an egg, because an egg gets beaten after it's broken.
If you've got to make an omelette.
What does it mean when something is broken? It's like, so the Conservatives used to say Labour isn't working. Mm-hmm. Does that mean the same thing as saying Britain is broken? Because it's like, I've been sitting with my legs crossed while we're in here, and quite a weird. When I stand up, it's very possible this leg won't be working. I don't think it's going to be broken. I'll be in trouble if it is. And if you say Britain is broken, you say Britain isn't. Does it being broken mean that it's unfixable? Does it mean it's less fixable?
Is it not picking up on those little irritations we're finding more and more every day that, you can't get a dental appointment, so you have to go to the vet and ask them to pull your teeth out. And, the trains are, the hospitals are, the things are stagnating, are ossifying, but you don't get a sense of anything improving. I'm paraphrasing, but that sense of all these little things.
Well, that's what they're nodding towards, but there's also something very final about broken.
Yes.
If your window is broken, you need a new window.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you don't need a new house, you need a new window. Yes.
But it's this fight between saying things are bad and thus we must make them better. There's something about when you say Britain is broken that means we just need to tear it all up and start again.
Yeah, or get someone in. A local.
I think once you talk about it being broken, you're going beyond getting somebody in. Yeah. You're going, it's ruined, it's finished.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yes.
Britain is over. Well, really, it's probably the most vicious argument that the Conservatives have with Reform.
Yes.
Is whether or not you're willing to say
brokenness.
Whether or not you're willing to say it's broken, without either of them ever defining what they mean by broken or not broken. It's if it's too pessimistic to say it is broken and too naive to say it isn't broken, but no one ever quite wants to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Burn it.
Yeah. Okay. Tiny doomsdays, apocalyptic headlines buried far, far in the back pages of daily papers. AI bots who are making humans their wage slaves.
Oh my gosh.
Page 21 of the Telegraph. And that is an article about a computer scientist called Alexander Leteplo, who's created a job site called Rent a Human, where AI agents can hire humans to carry out physical tasks that AI agents can't do. I did a thing about this 20 years ago, no more than that, 20 years, when I was speculating what AI would be like, and arguing that if AI is like humanity, then it'll get lazy and want to go home early on a Friday and put off stuff that it doesn't want to do, and will then just get little humans in to do those things for them that it can't be bothered doing. This is now a proposal, and it's called the meat space.
The meat space.
The meat space, as opposed to the cyberspace.
Yeah.
This is human meat. This is meat space.
You've got to meet the meat.
Yes.
You've got to meet so...
Does that Does that thrill you or chill you?
Well, I mean, obviously it chills me, but it also makes me think that, so a while ago now, when we first started talking about AI and what it meant for us, I interviewed somebody who made the point, which I still think was quite a good point, that when we try and understand what it means for an AI and whether an AI can think something or believe something or instruct us, what we should think about is a company. Because companies are already really AIs in that they're composites of loads of people. They have a personality that exists outside those people and so on. Now, companies have been employing humans for a while. So I would say we are already employed by AI.
Yeah.
This is just making it more stark.
Yeah. Well, my aim was to try and cheer us up.
No. Your aim was to cheer us up by having us being employed by AI.
I know.
In the meat space.
I know. I was going to, I had a thought about you. When you were last on, the phrase you wanted to consign was throwing my name in the ring.
Sure, for leadership contests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it should be,
you put your name in the hat, or you put your hat in the ring. Yeah. You don't put your name in the ring. Yeah.
It's after you said that, I thought, but aren't they arguing for a streamlining of your bureaucracy? There's an unnecessary layer
which is
of
the
bureaucracy,
hat.
Which is the hat.
Yes.
If you want to get the name to the ring as fast as possible, why go via the hat? So all they're doing is eliminating the hat. They're not being illogical. They're just saying, why employ a hat to put a name into and then take that hat to the ring and throw that hat into the ring? Why can't you just take the name and put it in the ring?
It depends on the size of the ring.
Well, yes.
And the size in which you've written your name.
Yes.
If you've written your name small and you throw it in a ring, it's going to waft away.
Okay, but...
A hat provides some ballast.
Well, how big is the hat? How do we know this?
I mean, head size.
You say ballast. How heavy is the hat?
Yeah.
How heavy wears the hat? Oh, no, that's wrong. Anyway, I just felt that you were arguing for an unnecessary level of paperwork.
Throw thy name not in the hat before thy throws into the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fair.
There we go. Glad we sorted that one out. Thanks for listening to Strong Measures here. I'll be back next week. And why not go and listen to some of our episodes from our back catalogue? We've got episodes on tough decisions, staying vigilant, and repetition. Just search for Strong Message here and subscribe on BBC Silence. Goodbye.
Goodbye.